The CW Twin Cities presents See What's Now, your entertainment news source.
Hey everybody, John Foss, CW Twin Cities, and the Mads are back, and this time they are here in the Twin Cities. Trace, Beaulieu, Frank, Conniff, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
And this is the place where you guys should have been and never left. I mean, this is the Twin Cities.
Yes.
Nothing says the Mads, Mystery Science Theater 3000 like the Twin Cities, so what does it feel like to be back?
Well, this is the birthplace of riffing, really. So it's the primordial soupy swamp that created Mystery Science Theater. Mm-hmm. So I live here, so it's great to be. I don't come to Minneapolis that often, but when I do get into town, it's great.
Yeah. Frank, what about you? What does it feel like
to be back here? It's always great to come back here. I live in New York now, which is my hometown, but I've always described Minneapolis as my hometown away from my hometown because I lived here for 10 years, and my stand-up career really got started here as a stand-up comedian, and then I got onto Mystery Science Theater here, and besides all that, I just from really the minute I was forced to move here, I liked it right away.
Yeah, and you guys have both had a ton of success since you've left Mystery Science Theater 3000. Trace,
well, I wouldn't say a ton of success.
Well, quite a bit of success.
Modicum.
Well, I mean, Trace, for example, has been on like the best show ever, Freaks and Geeks.
Thank you. Freaks and Geeks was cool.
I mean, what does it feel like to go through all that success and then not only to be back on the original station and to spend 20 minutes helping somebody find a cigarette?
You know, we're such a draw. I mean, you can see the crowds here waiting to get in.
Let's be fair, it's like 4 hours before the show. So.
Okay, all right. You know, I love Minneapolis. It's I moved away and had to come back. I live north of Stillwater, so it's still kind of like the Twin Cities, but it's the greatest place. The weather's great. The winters weed out the riffraff. So.
And I think last year at this time you weren't living here, is that right?
I was.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just keep a low profile.
Okay, sounds good, because we've been looking for you. But now we got you nailed down. We know you're here for good. So what are the Twin Cities going to see while you guys are here? I know you guys rotate films throughout the country and internationally now. We'll talk about that later. But what are we going to see when we're here, when you guys are here?
Should we really disclose the titles of these films? Should we?
They will be two different films from the two films we did last year. And that's all we'll say.
Oh, really?
And we've been performing them on the road, and they're doing really well, and I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised.
So you guys make the audience go in blind?
Well, we tell them what it's going to be once they're seated.
Okay.
And I'll say this, tonight's film is a really good print. Last year we had one of the worst prints in a film in Walk the Dark Street. I can tell you what we did last year, because
that works. Well, I was here for the second night. Glenn or Glenda? Yeah, that was, you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
And that theater's huge. It was packed and brought the house down.
Yeah, they love Glenn, and we love Glenn and Glenda too. That's like, I think, our favorite film to rip.
Is that still in the rotation?
Still in the rotation. We did that in London.
Okay.
Speaking internationally.
Yeah.
And tonight's film is, I thought it was more well known than I certainly knew it, but the audience doesn't know it as well. And then tomorrow night's film, not as good of production values, but of a family favorite. Some of your favorite MST stars are in this film.
Really?
The same creative team that did one of our other Mystery Science Theater films is behind this film.
Interesting. All right.
Yes, a family. Like The Bridges.
Yeah.
Like Carl Reiner and his son Robert.
Right.
That kind of legacy of filmmakers, father and son.
Very cool.
Not very good, though.
But not talented.
Well, that's why you guys are here.
Yeah.
To bridge the gap between good and bad.
There you go.
You know, making the bad good. And we kind of mentioned this, so you guys are no longer just a domestic thing. This thing's blown up internationally. How did that all come about?
We had gone to London for the London Sci-Fi Film Festival about 4 years ago, and the fellow that organizes that, Louis Savvy, had been trying to get us for years. He tried to get us when we were Cinematic Titanic, but there were 5 of us, and different parts of the country, it was very expensive to bring us in. So once we whittled it down to 2 people, we were much more affordable. and we went over 4 years ago. This year there was like a wellspring, a crowd.
Yeah, there was a crowdfunding, and this year, as opposed to last time, we actually did a show.
Yes.
Last time we went, we just appeared.
Which is enough, really.
Yeah, which was fun.
I mean, I think so.
But this year we did Glen or Glenda, and it was the first time we'd ever riffed a movie overseas, and it was very successful. People really liked it.
Did everybody get it? They knew who you guys were?
We didn't change any jokes really for the British audience, but we've got a great and dedicated fan base over there, so we hope to go back next year. They said they'd invite us back. So
yeah. I think the fan base is kind of crazy, because last year, and I did it again this year, posted that I was interviewing you guys and asked for questions, and like, it's the easiest way to get a response on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like, people just start posting things right away, and I like cut it off because I've only got, Joe said I only had 2 or 3 hours for the interview, so you know, so we have to keep a limit somewhere. And last year when I was here after Glen or Glenda, a lot of the Mystery Science Theater crew, the cast, came out and gave kind of a Q&A with you guys, which was a very cool surprise.
Yeah, we had everyone, almost, if not everyone, from Riff Tracks was here. Mike, his wife Bridget, Mary Jo, Bill Corbett, Kevin Murphy. They were all here, and they came on stage with us and goofed around and took questions. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How did that come about? And
we just asked them.
Yeah, they're friends of ours.
Yeah, they were all in the audience, and it was like, well, here's an opportunity. Do you guys want to join us?
And we had done the Mystery Science Theater reunion show at the State Theater that they had organized like the year before. So,
will there be any surprises this year?
You know, just about everybody's coming, but on different nights.
Oh, really?
So you'll see some folks that you recognize tonight and some tomorrow night. So
will they just be in the audience, or will we get to hear from them afterwards?
We don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll play that one by ear.
Yeah, I know they're going to be in the audience, or in the lobby at least.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so where you guys have been all over the country and now internationally, where's your favorite place to play? What's the best? Who gives the best response?
Minneapolis.
Now you're just, I mean, come on. Now you're just, I know that you guys, you know the thing, you're just trying to get the Twin Cities pumped up, but is that, do you mean that?
Yes.
Really? That's number one?
Yes.
Okay, just because this is where it came from and people get so pumped about it?
The best place is Minneapolis. So now you can
we'll
put
edit
in
everything. We'll send this around all the CW stations around the country. Okay.
No, it's great to be back here, because this is the place that, you know, gave us our start. And
yeah, this is, like I said, it's, you know, it's a second hometown to me, and I know all of the areas and stuff, and it just feels very familiar. I get very nostalgic when I come back here. I started my comedy career here. I have very fond memories of that time in my life, even though I know that I was struggling and that I was probably depressed a lot of the time, and yet I look back at it with a golden hue.
This is the place to be depressed.
Yes.
We have, you know...
It breeds great comedy.
Yeah.
Right?
Spring, summer, fall, and Ibsen.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was, when I moved here in like 1985, when I started doing comedy here around 1986, the creative community here was just incredible. The comedy community was, so many great comics either lived here or had started their careers here and were in LA then, but then would always come back. And it was just, it was an amazing time.
Did you come here because you had met comics that lived here?
No, no, as I said, I was forced to come here. Not really forced, but I was, back then I had a bit of a drug and alcohol problem, and my family had an intervention and asked me very nicely to leave the state and come to Minnesota, where they, as you know, they have a great community of rehab here and of recovery. And I came here and got into that, and that was another really terrific. That's what brought me here, you know, but then all these other things happened as a result of it.
Wow, I bet that's a huge, awesome story in itself, because obviously it sounds like that all worked out for you.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I'm very lucky, I'm very grateful, and I grew up, I was born and raised in New York City, never thought I'd end up in Minneapolis. My major knowledge of Minneapolis had all to do with the Mary Tyler Moore Show. You know, that was it. And so I never thought I would end up here. And then I ended up here, and I ended up living here for 10 years. And it was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
Cool. All right. Well, we couldn't have you guys here without talking about Movie Sign with the Mads. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a podcast that we do with our partner, Carolina Hidalgo, who can't be here. She was going to come, but her flight got canceled.
If she would have wanted it more, she could have made it happen. You know, there's other means of transportation.
She'll be here.
Ride a bike.
Yeah.
Run
from
fast.
New York.
Well.
Yeah. So we talk about movies. It's very conversational. It's not really a review of films, and we don't riff on films. We talk about good movies. We talk about bad movies. We talk about movies we love and are passionate about.
We prefer to talk about the good movies.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
But our fans kind of like it when we dig on
stuff. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But, you know, so we go to a movie, like a current movie, with nothing but hoping that it'll be good. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's disappointing, and sometimes we disagree. We've had some disagreements, like Avengers Infinity War.
Yep.
We kind of
just listened to that one. Most people loved it, but you guys didn't.
Yeah, but Carolina loved it.
Yeah.
You know?
But not in a hate. We didn't hate.
I didn't hate it either.
It wasn't your taste.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back and see it on Friday with my wife.
To see if it was because you were tired.
I'm very tired. It was jet lagged. So I
that
was
might be the
tired,
problem.
man. That was my superpower, was keeping my eyelids up. So we'll give it another shot. But I've loved all the other Marvel films.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
And you kind of talked about that maybe that's what set it up too. They were so great.
Yeah.
I mean, you're expecting that
There's
to
a high
continue.
bar now.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just go to a Marvel film going, oh, it's superhero film, whatever. You're kind of going thinking, oh, this could be really good because they've made so many really good ones.
Yeah. A lot of times I go into the podcast and listen to the beginning to see what you guys think of the movie and see if it's worth watching.
Oh, yeah.
Then stop it. If it's good, then you watch the movie. Then come back
that's a great
finish the
idea.
podcast.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Because it's a good way to get recommendations, you know.
Yeah.
Find out, you know, get the behind the scenes. Is this good? Is this bad? Because I trust your
Have you
taste.
disagreed with us on anything?
Let's see. Well, I will say there's one thing I disagree with you on, but it's probably just because I was a kid and I didn't acknowledge all the things about this state. But the Florida Project, you guys love the movie. I love the movie. But you guys hate Florida. What's up with that? I love Florida. Come on. Disneyland, Disney World.
Spent a lot of time there from the 70s on. My folks had a condo in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Broward County, lovely corrupt county. Probably one of the most corrupt in the country. But you'll edit that out.
I haven't seen a lot of Florida, I have to say, but I did when I was a kid. My family moved to Miami Beach briefly and lived there.
That's all you need.
And it was for me, from my point of view, it was a hell on earth. I miss New York so much, and all our family did. Finally, we just moved back to New York, you know. But I don't know that much about Florida, but I've always been predisposed against it a little bit. But the Florida Project, to me, really evoked Florida to me, and my memory of it, even though I was in a different part of Florida than this movie was, the kind of vibe of Florida was just very compelling to me in the Florida Project.
Yeah.
Which I think might be one of my all-time favorite movies.
And I think for me, I probably was the person that was like a block or two away from all that bad stuff going on, enjoying Disney World, going to the beach and stuff like that. So I have great memories of Florida. I didn't get to see this part of it, but the film does a great job of kind of showing, you know, like there's these great things going on right here, but right next to it.
Just on the edge, on the fringe of all of that wealth, and there's
the untold story.
Yeah.
So I never saw his film before that, Tangerine, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's a really
So that's
good
all
movie.
iPhone?
Yeah, he filmed it with his iPhone, and he was in Los Angeles. It's another film that a lot of movies are filmed in Los Angeles. This is kind of the Los Angeles you don't usually see in movies. And not as good as the Florida Project, but Tangerine is really, really good.
Cool. And so last time you guys were here, you guys shot on the St. Croix River.
Yes.
Obviously, that's probably not going to happen now that Carolina's not here. Did you guys have anything planned like that?
We didn't this year. The cameraman we work with wasn't available. And we still haven't released the video version of that trip. We released the audio, but I guess since it's been a year, we could release the video portion of that.
We've been waiting. You know,
why did you have to wait? Or you just haven't gotten around to editing it?
We want to make it a special thing, and maybe as part of our Patreon, we're trying to make a podcast revenue-based.
I know that's an oxymoron.
I know.
Well, it's always nice to get paid for your work.
Yeah.
And also, you know, we've been waiting for, like, maybe if there's a week when we don't have a podcast to post, we'll post that. But we've been so consistent in making a show every week that hasn't happened yet.
And that's Carolina. She's the one that organized it and gets us there every week.
And also the Last Podcast Network, which they do Last Podcast on the Left, which is an inspiration to us all because they make money off of it.
That's nice.
They've monetized it. It's incredibly successful. So we're very happy to be part of that network.
Cool. All right. Well, Mystery Science Theater 3000. A lot of people have heard of that show.
Yes.
So one thing I read on your website, which I thought was interesting, is that it said that you guys created your characters, but you actually created the skits too. Is that true?
We wrote and
really
wrote and performed.
Yeah, we wrote our sketch. Although the whole writing staff
wasn't
collaborated on everything. So sometimes we'd write our own sketches.
Exactly.
Sometimes we'd write our own sketches. Sometimes one of the other writers would write our sketches, and we'd write a sketch. You know, I would write a Satellite of Love sketch that I wasn't in. You know, I mean, that was just the basic process of the writing room. But I don't know.
When the whole show started, did you guys pick your characters, or were those given to you?
They developed over time. You know, the first mad scientist was Josh Weinstein, J. Elvis Weinstein, and myself, because we were there. You know, it wasn't like there was a big casting call. It was just like, well, we got to explain why Joel's in space. Maybe he had some bosses. Okay, you're the bosses now. So it was that kind of not really thought out with a Bible like most shows are.
Were you pursuing comedy at that time?
I was doing stand-up.
Okay.
I wouldn't really say I was pursuing comedy, but I was doing stand-up and doing improv, and that's where I met all of these
I was pursuing comedy, and comedy was trying to chase me back. So it was,
you were
a give and take.
comedy.
I was stalking comedy, and comedy was sending me restraining orders.
You just had to get away from comedy to get into comedy.
But I was hired as a writer on the show, and then it just became apparent. It just kind of happened that I was going to be the new assistant mad scientist. But I think that was just the general character was assistant Dr. Forster's sidekick, and there wasn't a lot of brainstorming about character development. I don't think. I think it's just we'll just call him Frank. But then a lot of things.
That's how creative we were.
Yes. Then a lot of things from my life were like incorporated in the character. TV's Frank worked at Arby's, as did I, over on Lake Street in Hiawatha, not to brag, and was kind of like a schleppy guy, and kind of a doofus, and all of that was based on me.
Okay. Adam LaChapelle, I believe it is, says, if chauffeurs ruled the world, is that a great song or the best MST3K song of all time? Do you guys remember that song?
I remember that song very well, and I think people have different opinions on that. I always like that song. There are other songs that people like Nummy Muffin Cuckoo Butter is a beautiful ballad that people love. We had lots of other songs that Trey sang, that everybody sang. I can't pick one out as my favorite.
Mm-hmm. You know? Is that Adam's favorite?
I think he was just leaving it up to you guys, because he's saying
make
is it
your
great?
Own decisions,
he's saying
Adam.
Is it great or the greatest of all time? So I think those are the only two categories.
But you know what? I think my favorite song we did might have been the Pants song.
Yeah, that was very popular.
Yeah.
Or the Tubular Boobular.
Yeah.
A lot of those Mike wrote a lot of that
And Clown
stuff.
in the Sky, which I saw the new Mystery Science Theater live. They closed with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I never saw the live show. Did you see it? Where'd you see it?
I saw it in New York.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
You haven't seen it? Okay. One thing I watched that song today with you guys, and and it just looks like you guys are having a great time. And I love how at the end, like you're listening to him sing, a little off key, might add, but then you just grab the car set piece and just like hit him on the head with it. Like like was that all just like improv stuff, or did you guys know what you're doing, or you just
kind of planned it, and maybe that was probably a last take because we didn't want to destroy the prop. You know, it was so cool.
Yeah.
But that happened a lot. You know, that Forrester would burst his bubble with either taking his head off or his spleen out or something, or hitting him over the head.
And this is the 30th anniversary?
It is this fall.
This fall, yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's amazing.
It's great.
Okay.
It's great. I mean, it's great that the show has been around so long, and it's the thing that's really helped us is that it just gets more popular as the years pass. So now we're able to do these live shows that we love doing.
And it's the fans that have kept us alive for 30 years and are here tonight and tomorrow night, and to all our shows across the country. We owe them so much. We're still going to make them pay to get in.
Exactly.
But we owe them.
Maybe a little more now that the popularity is growing. But
hey, that's a great idea.
Well,
yeah. We should raise our prices.
I'll talk to, if you need an agent, let me know. But okay, so you guys did the reunion with Riff Tracks recently. I was at that, great job. And then you did it in Nashville, I believe, as well.
Yeah,
kind
we
of a
did.
reunion. Will there be more reunions?
I hope
What do you guys
so.
have going on?
Yeah,
we love working with those guys. Yeah.
I think anytime Riff Tracks wants us to come do a live show with them, we're always more than willing to do it.
Please hire us to do more shows.
And last time I talked to you guys, I think it might have been around this time last year, I can't remember exactly, but you guys hadn't watched the season 1 reboot yet. Have you guys gotten around to doing that?
I have not seen, I think I've seen some promos for it, but I have the sound off.
All right.
And I haven't seen it, but I did see the live show.
What did you think of the live show?
The live show was very funny.
Did you get up on stage at all?
No, Joel introduced me in the audience.
Oh, that's cool.
Though, which was
Very Ed Sullivan.
very Ed Sullivan and very in New York. And I was in the audience, and I was online beforehand, and I was mobbed for autographs, and I just hate it when that happens.
Well, you won't have to worry about that.
Well, pretty soon you'll have to be helping people get cigarettes.
Yeah,
If you get to Trace's level there.
That is a friend of mine, though.
Oh, you know him? Okay,
Yes,
all
yes.
right, that's great.
He was doing a bit.
Okay, well, I just thought, what a great guy this guy is. Huge celebrity, helping some guy find cigarettes. But now that I know it was a bit.
It was all a myth. I'm not a huge celebrity, and he was a friend looking for cigarettes.
All right. So season 2, I know there was in the first season there was a lot of characters brought back to make cameos. Have you guys been in talks to do that at all?
No, they filmed the whole thing already.
Oh, is
I
it?
think.
Already in the can?
Well,
think
I think they're filming it next month.
Yeah, they're filming it, and it's all been written and prepared already. So
Yeah,
we're
we're
very busy
Right.
with doing these shows. We're on the road a lot, and I think it's great that Joel has the reboot happening. We have this stuff happening. Riff Tracks has their thing. It's like we're all kind of coexisting. It's pretty cool.
Definitely. And like you guys said, this is the birthplace, and it's just been amazing how successful it's been, and it's growing and branching out. So that's cool.
And we're finding new fans all the time. Families, the parents got the kids into it, or vice versa. And it's just there's no you can't pigeonhole the fans. It's everyone. It's the man on the street, the cop on the beat.
And speaking of the fans, here's some of the fan questions. And these came from MST3K, the Revival League fan page on Facebook.
Oh, we know those guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you might know the first guy actually told me to say the Motivator says hi. So maybe
The Motivator,
you know him?
excellent. Yeah,
Okay. Kevin Smith. All right.
He owes me for a tea.
Okay, I'll let him know. I'll respond
No,
after the.
I treated him. I treated
Okay,
him to a
all
tea.
right. What is it like to be national treasures? We've kind of already talked about this, and now global icons.
Ooh.
I wonder what that would be like.
National
you would know.
treasures like Nick Cage? Or
Exactly, yeah.
I feel like a treasure because I feel like my career was buried a long time ago. So
Yeah, that's the best answer.
Okay, all right. Peter Scheidel says he's curious.
Oh,
to,
is that creep behind the camera guy, or am I mixing him up with?
What's the name again?
Peter Scheidel.
No.
No, it's a different guy.
All right. Well, anyway, he wants to know, and you guys have kind of talked about this in the past, how Carolina got involved with you guys, how the whole team came together, because she is a great compliment to you guys, gets the humor, adds to the humor, has the
We only
history
have her
of the
around
film.
because she'll give us a compliment. So.
Yeah, and
I like
she's
that.
That's
Yeah.
how insecure we are.
She's the most organized of us
Yeah.
all. So she's.
But as
the good
far
one.
as how we got together, I met her on another show that I do, which is Tell Me Everything, hosted by John Fugelsang, which is on Sirius XM, Monday through Friday, 2 to 5 Eastern Time. That would be 1 to 4 here in the Twin Cities. And that's where I met her. She came on as a guest of the show, and then she was doing a podcast with another friend of hers, Tiana Miller, and they invited me on that. And then one day, I think when she started to work with the Last Podcast Network, she asked me, "Would you like to do a movie podcast with me?" And then I said, "How about if it's me and Trace and you?" And then she was like, "That's much better. I'm glad you suggested that."
Yeah, can't really turn that down.
No.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and because Trace and I had already started working together a lot then, so it just felt right that we should be
Yeah,
doing
we
that.
tried to get a podcast together in another format, and it just wasn't gelling.
Right.
But we really needed the Carolina magic.
Yeah.
And the
Definitely has a new twist.
the infrastructure of the Last Podcast Network.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever get sick of each other?
No.
It seems like you guys have worked together forever. You guys are great playing off of each other, and from the outside it looks amazing. But being around the same person for that much time, you
Have
guys.
you met our lawyers?
No.
We're
We only talk through lawyers.
Okay. Gotcha.
we're like Abbott and Costello. Off stage, we don't speak to each other.
Okay. All right. Well.
Or Gilbert and Sullivan, or what are the other teams?
Sonny and Cher?
No, they got along until they divorced, and we're not ready to divorce yet.
As long as the jokes keep coming, we don't care.
Yeah, as long as the jokes and the food keep coming.
That's all
That
we
works for you
care
guys?
about,
All right.
really.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The tour is really based on where the restaurants are that we like the most.
That's
so it's
awesome.
like, could we get back to Michigan where that great deli is? That would be awesome.
Nice. Sounds like a good lifestyle. All right. Allie Rapelli says, if there's one A-list film that you guys would like to riff on, one that, if you could riff on any film to get the rights to it, you have anything to pick from, what would it be? But it's a top of the line A-list
Tap
film.
of the Phantom Thread. I think if I could stay awake through it, I think that would be the one to riff.
I never thought of it before, but I would love to riff the Phantom Thread.
Barbara?
And that's a talented guy who made that movie, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, I love his films.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't like it.
I haven't seen it. So was it just a huge bomb, or you guys just hated it, or?
We just both. I mean, I know people who liked it, and it got. You know what? It got like 7 Academy Award nominations, and the Florida Project only got 1 for William Dafoe, which is outrageous. Florida Project should have been nominated in every category, but
You guys did talk about it in the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about how those
We were
films
a little bitter.
campaign.
Yeah.
So that kind of ruins the whole.
But
thing.
you know, the Phantom Thread, it was just, I never thought I could be bored by a slow-moving story about a dress designer. Who knew that I wouldn't get into
Yeah,
that?
I know, it's crazy to think.
Yeah.
At least one murder or a spaceship or one robot.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted.
The only action sequence in it is when he gets annoyed by the scraping of the toast at breakfast.
That was like Fast and Furious 7 to
Yes.
me, that one moment.
All right, I'm gonna have to check it out just to see.
Yeah. Have you seen the
how bad
Phantom
it is.
Thread?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
All
The
right.
title is much better than the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to the sequel, Attack of the Clothes.
Love it. All right. Well, Barbara Lamaster, she says, what's the best riff that you didn't write? Or maybe you heard somebody else say something funny and you're like, damn it, I should have thought of that.
Boy, best riff. It was probably one of Frank's. And it's probably in tonight's show.
And you've
Oh,
stolen
you
it.
mean a specific joke?
Yeah, like somebody else said a joke and you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Trace, like every night, he usually comes up with something new that makes me laugh.
So you have to come to our shows. And when this riff comes up that I like a lot, I'll raise my hand.
But
Okay,
there's
I'm gonna be there
actually
tonight, so I'm watching for it.
Actually, there's a riff that Trace does in Glen or Glenda that I love and never gets anything. But
Except for you. There's
Except
like
for
one person
me, it's
laughing.
talking about the music that's playing while the Glenn is talking to his girlfriend, and Trace says, Hal Roach's music for young lovers, because it sounds like Little Rascals music.
Okay.
And that's all I want to do. If I could just make one person laugh, that's all I want to do.
And it's this guy right here.
Yeah, and it happens to be local.
I also love Trace's Victory at Sea reference.
From Glen or Glenda?
We are not afraid to be obscure.
Yeah.
Or just like, it's narrow casting.
Yeah.
This joke's for Frank.
Well, for the people that get it, it's that much better.
And you know what, actually, I really regret that in our podcast about the Florida Project, I meant to mention, but didn't mention, is that in the credits at the end, there's a special thanks to Hal Roach, Spanky McFarlane.
Oh, really?
And because
Little Rascals.
He said that movie was
really?
influenced by Little Rascals.
That's interesting, because when I first saw the first few minutes with the kids, I go, this is the Little Rascals movie that we should have had.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of the what, 20
But I
years
thought
ago
it was
we made?
really amazing that if he makes this heart-wrenching film, he mentions Hal Roach and
That makes total sense.
and
Cool.
yeah.
All right, so Jeffrey Dauberful, he says, what do you guys think of 3D? Do you think it's a gimmick? Do you think that it shouldn't exist? Or do you think it can be a good complement to a good movie?
Mostly unnecessary in my experience. I don't go out of my way to see 3D films, but I think that the two times I think it was really worked was Avatar, because when I saw Avatar on TV, like a year later, it was just much better in 3D.
And you'll get to see it 6 more times.
Yeah. And also I thought the 3D in Gravity was really good. But then when I saw Gravity on television, I still really liked it because I think it had a really good story and really good characters. But the director of that film, Alfonso Cuarón, is brilliant. So
it was a much better film, too.
Yeah, so
Avatar needed that spectacle, and it's
it's
not as strong.
It was helpful.
Story.
But I think like Black Panther, I think was in 3D, or maybe it wasn't, but I didn't see it in 3D, and I loved it.
Yeah.
There was something just recently in 3D that I really liked, but it wasn't. The 3D was kind of secondary to it. It wasn't like a lot of pokey stuff. That kind of hokey, gimmicky stuff.
So if it's more subtle and not like
Yeah,
main
if
attraction.
it's just giving some depth to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they keep dragging this technology out every 10 years or
Right.
so.
Well, now they do it because they can charge people more money for it.
Well,
so.
that too.
I feel like it makes the screen smaller. It looks smaller through the glasses, I think.
Yeah.
And like one of the cool things about being in theater is that it's huge.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the one thing I hate.
I
like about it.
saw Blade Runner, the new one, not in 3D, but in IMAX. It was amazing in IMAX. It did not need, I don't know if it was in 3D anywhere, but that movie did not need 3D. But to see it on a gigantic screen with that incredible soundtrack in Dolby Stereo, that was really great.
The only 3D movie I've really enjoyed was The Creature of the Black Lagoon, at the Lagoon Theater, with the red and blue lens
Oh yeah, the old
thing.
school.
Just because it was that whole package of kitsch and nostalgia.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need. We don't need 3D.
I riffed at this club QED in New York, Friday the 13th in 3D. Actually better without the glasses. Just watching it,
Really?
you could see. It was actually better that way.
Okay, okay. Brooke Blake says, can you guys still enjoy movies? Or do you just think of riffs the entire
Well, if
time?
you-
No. Good movies, if they're good.
If you listen
can
to our podcast, you know
Yeah.
how much we love movies and
Yeah.
how much we love going to them and watching them and talking about them. That's never gone away at all.
Okay. J.R. Naughton says, what's the difference between doing this live and doing it in the studio? What's the different feeling for you
the
guys?
energy that the audience brings.
Do you have a preference?
Oh,
Loves
absolutely.
live.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why we love doing these shows all over the country. There's an energy that we don't get in the studio. There's just, this is the best way to do it.
Does
And
it
this
feel a
is
lot
the
like
most-
stand-up?
Hmm?
Does it
yeah,
feel a lot like
yeah,
stand-up?
it's like the
stand-up.
best of stand-up.
Except it's stand-up, but the audience has heard of you.
Yeah.
They
It's
what?
just not something
Oh,
I've
they've heard of you?
experienced
Yeah.
often as a stand-up comic. I do a lot of shows in New York or LA or when I lived here. People just come to the comedy club, they don't know who the comics are and they've never heard of you. But that's kind of good too, because you kind of have to win them over, not based on your on any fame, but
So you do still do stand up?
Oh yeah, yeah, I still do a lot. And in fact, though, but when we toured with Cinematic Titanic, I used to do stand up before we riffed the movie. Jay Elvis would, and Trace would get up and read from his book and stuff. And that was the first time as a stand up comedian that I ever knew what it was like to appear in front of a big audience that were your fans. You know. That was amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
Much prefer the live show because, and it's so great to meet everybody too. We do a meet and greet before and after every show. It's part of the ticket price, and it just, you know, all those years that we were really stranded alone in a television studio. We never got to see anybody.
Yeah.
So now it's great to interact and meet people, and they bring us cookies sometimes.
They do.
Cookies or baked goods.
Perfect.
Wonderful cookies, yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah, live is the best. This is the most fun I've had riffing in any configuration is with Frank.
That's cool.
Live.
All right, Justin Corwin, last fan question. Have you guys ever thought about, because you guys are the Mads, bringing Mary Jo into the mix for the Mads?
We'd love to bring Mary Jo or Josh, anyone who is a Mad. Bill Corbett.
Bill Corbett,
who
yeah.
would classify as a Mad.
We wanted to do a show, and we pitched it to Shout Factory of the live from Deep 13. That would have been a talk show with Dr. Forrester as the host, myself as like the Ed McMahon, but we wanted it to be in Deep 13. We wanted to use everyone from Deep 13 in it, and everybody loved the idea, which is why it hasn't been done.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. What movie are you guys looking forward to most that's coming out?
Oh, that's coming out.
Solo.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm looking
that's
forward
out
to-
now, right?
I'm going to see that on this Saturday. I'm looking forward to Deadpool 2.
Yeah, that should be good.
Um,
I'm looking forward to Deadpool 2 more than Solo, actually.
yeah, I think I am too. And there's stuff in the future, like I think that Scorsese right now is making another gangster picture with DiCaprio and De Niro and I think Al Pacino. I might be wrong, but it's some kind of incredible
Yeah.
cast like that.
Does Scorsese still have it, you think?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely, yeah.
I can't wait for Fast and Furious 18.
That's. I think everybody's looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Because of the Vin Diesel factor that you talked about before.
Yeah.
There's good, bad, and then Vin Diesel.
Or Triple X 5 or whatever the next one
Yeah.
is.
It's just X's.
Triple X might have been one of the worst films we ever covered on.
I don't think I've seen that. That's on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, we did a podcast
Of
about
modern movies.
that. Yeah,
That's the worst.
one of the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple other, like I hated Suicide Squad. I hated
Yeah.
Justice League.
Basically, it's like Marvel. They know how to do it.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
So those guys need to get with
yeah.
it.
DC's still trying to. Although they're on the CW, there's a lot of good DC shows.
Yeah, we'll have to
right?
edit that part out.
Huh?
We'll have to edit that part out. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's like the Marvel films are just way better. So, who would play the? Who would if there was a Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie that kind of just told the story about the original cast? You guys, who would play the parts?
Well, it wouldn't be us.
I don't even think I could get a meeting for that one.
Yeah.
Well, the one who could have played me, it's unfortunate because he's no longer with us, but everybody told me that I reminded them of is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh yeah,
People would tell. So he would have, had he lived,
he was great.
he would have starred in My Life Story, which I know is in the works somewhere, at one of the studios.
Well, now that they got that hologram,
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah, maybe with a
That's
hologram
right.
they'll be able
That's
to do
right.
it.
Or piece him together from all his
Yeah.
other films.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely, just a lot of Photoshop, but you know, it could work. What about for you?
Oh boy, I have no idea. It never occurred to me to think of that.
All right. Well, think about it till next year. And
Yes.
When we do this interview next year, we'll come back to that. So, is there other projects that people should know about that you guys are working on?
You should look for our tour schedule on Facebook and Twitter, and also the Mads Are Back website
Okay.
for our extended tour throughout the country.
And you can find all of my books on Amazon. My 3 books that I've written, 25 Mystery Science Theater films, The Chase of My Life in No Way Whatsoever, Cats v. Conniff, my latest one, How to Write Cheesy Movies, are all available, and also always available at our merchandise table when you come to our shows. And also, if you have Sirius XM radio or are thinking of getting Sirius XM radio, check out Tell Me Everything every afternoon with John Fugelsang that I'm on frequently, except when I'm on the road doing this.
Buy a car because you get Sirius XM with the car.
And if you don't have a car, you can get, there's an app.
If you get both together, or if you come to this show, maybe you guys give like 20% off a car.
We can't work that out.
Can't do that? Okay.
Yeah.
I did have a lot of people ask about Pound House 90.
Yeah, those are all.
Those?
You can just go to frankconniff.com.
How much do those cost?
Those are free.
Wow.
Yes, you can just listen to them.
And a free car too, or no? Still no free car.
Pod House
podcast?
is free.
Okay.
Car is.
Yeah, we don't. I don't give away any. Although, if you like stories about cars,
The talking car.
Steve the Talking Car.
Are you still making those, or?
Yeah, I've written one and it's ready to go, and I'm just waiting. I've been so busy with a lot of other things that I haven't been able to get started on recording it, which is quite a endeavor. But
Can I have a
I
speaking
think
part?
this summer I'm
going
going to. I think, huh?
Can I have a speaking part in the?
Sure.
Okay.
This summer, I think I hopefully will start recording it and it'll be ready in the fall. But
well, guys, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And Twin Cities, make sure you check these guys out, themadsarback.com, and also look for their podcast, Movie Sign with Mads.